This episode is sponsored by Fiona Dickinson. Stephen!
Andrew!
Fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Of course I do.
We're going to Mulberry Close. Series 9, Episode 3, directed by Al Campbell, produced by Steve Ride, written by Steve Pemberton and Rhys Shearsmith, and it first aired on Wednesday, the 22nd of May, 2024.
I like that you give them writing credits every episode.
It's well deserved.
It is well deserved. What do we think?
Well, shall I start with a synopsis and then...
Go on.
Okay. I haven't actually scanned this a second time, but I spent a bit of time writing it. Mulberry Close is a quiet place where not much happens. Just some neighbourly residents looking out after one another to help keep any undesirables at bay. When a new couple joins the street, things start to take a turn and the neighbours are compelled to figure out why there is so much suspicious activity happening at number 9. And they piece the story together, brick by brick. So, grab a box of popcorn, chill on your favourite futon, and enjoy the drama.
These are getting more and more elaborate. Your little moment to write a soliloquy.
A little soliloquy, yeah. They're getting longer each time. Soon enough, it will just be that. All right.
You've enjoyed this.
Yeah. So what did you think?
I very much enjoyed it. There's something, I like the fact that you've said that it's a quiet place where not much happens, but I think there's more goes on in this place. And this was just a little snapshot, a little 22 scene snapshot of something unfolding. But Ken and Sheila, I reckon they're up to things on the regular.
Do you reckon?
I think so.
Got their fingers in a few little pies.
I think so.
A few quiches. Yeah.
And Larry, of course. I love the doorbell camera. I think it's really interesting. They're still finding more ways to do things.
Mm.
It reminded me a bit of Cold Comfort with that kind of view of things going on. That camera was going to be there recording those things regardless, but it watches all these things unfold. And I couldn't remember if Diddle Dumpling had something similar at the end.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Was that doorbell footage when he was going, or it was CCTV outside the house, but you saw him going out and planting the shoe and things at the end of that, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember if that was CCTV or doorbell cam. Yeah, I thought it was, from that perspective, like a classic inside number 9, doing something differently, capturing the footage in that way. And you can, again, imagine that process of writing that or coming up with the idea of like, could we possibly do a whole episode just through one camera? And everything unfolding on a drive or across the street, like just fantastic. Like, yes.
And the fact that the idea that those cameras pick up motion and they're not permanently recording and they just pick up little bits of motion that gives you a little snippet of something going on, I think is really cool. Yeah. Like there is all this stuff going on inside the houses and in various other places, but you're just getting what it sees as it picks up that bit of motion and records a little bit.
Yeah.
Because those things have now become just something we live with.
Yes.
I don't.
We've just sort of accepted this complete surveillance society without really thinking about it. Yeah.
In the sort of name of it being easy to see who's at your front door when you're not at home. Mm-hmm. And that's it, really.
This was a bit like, reminded me of Devil of Christmas as well, with that reveal at the end.
Yeah, I thought that at the end. In fact, I've written that down. I've said it's a bit Devil of Christmas.
Yeah.
We're getting that sort of meta thing going on. As Michael Ball cuts in.
Exactly. And then it kind of quilts across the entire thing as you go back and look at it. Like you could be watching the Netflix documentary, like the whole thing could be the Netflix documentary.
That is the question it kind of raises, is this a fully filmed reenactment rather than actually what went on? Are we seeing the filming of the show rather than the actual events that happened?
Yeah, I suppose it depends if it was a documentary, like one of their sort of true crime documentaries,
Like
which
a found
is just
footage
using
kind of
the
thing.
found footage. Yeah, yeah, or a reenacted. I reckon it would be the found footage thing because
Not
it's
like
all
Crime
found
Watch.
footage, isn't it? Yeah, and like at the end where you've got the police body cams and the dash cams, like everything is. There's no cameras, like in terms of.
Yeah, but neither is there in this. And this is acted, and this isn't real footage.
Yeah, true.
Maybe they decided to film that like this. I don't know.
It's a mystery. Yeah.
Is this Larry playing himself? I don't know.
Oh no, that was a great line. Yeah. Yeah, and great to see Mr. Jelly and Mr. Jolly, back together again. Yeah. Any other crossovers that I thought?
I mean, it's very local people, isn't it?
It's very local people.
We'll have no trouble here.
And yes, exactly. Like, get off my land. And it's almost like looking out onto streets like where Nana's Party is and like where Last Gasp is.
Dismal suburbia.
Yeah, UK suburbia.
It's interesting that all of this happens outside number 9, apart from the very end.
Yes. Yeah, you only see inside number 9 on one shot. And there's the hair just sat there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Quick.
That was easy this week. Yeah, nice. Yes, and I guess similar to Lip Service from that respect, because you're looking, although you do obviously see the inside of the room, but a lot of it is looking. Well, number 9 is outside, isn't it?
Yes.
Lip Service. Yeah, that's the difference there. And that crossover with Rear Window, I think that this is more Rear Window-y because. Have you seen Rear Window?
I have not.
Hitchcock. Where, it's basically all filmed in a room with a guy I think he's got a broken leg and he's looking out of the window at this apartment building across the street or from where he is. And he's seeing things and piecing together a story of what he thinks he's seeing.
Okay.
And so it's kind of very similar to what happens in Mulberry Close because they're obviously making up a story that they think is happening and then implicate themselves into that by meddling in something. It's been ages since I've watched Rear Window, but I'm pretty sure there's a similar thing that happens where, you are in trying to solve the crime or save the person that you think is in trouble, you become part of a crime that wouldn't have happened had you not been this voyeur watching everything. Which
is what happens here, I guess, isn't it?
It's what happens, yeah.
So I guess they do become, they create this situation, don't they? In the end, really, it was nothing. Although I was sort of second guessing all the way through what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he had. I was pretty sure he hadn't killed her.
Yeah. So was I. Yeah.
But then I was like, I don't know why.
Yeah, that's
because
weird.
I guess that would be the obvious, especially when he's out there hauling very heavy suitcase into the back of his car. Yeah. I guess should we work our way through?
Let's go through. Yeah.
So I started off thinking I can just sort of divide this into shots. And that'll just be a few. 22 shots there, right? If we include the police cam at the end. It wasn't which is a lot. Because all of them are quite heavy.
Yeah. There's not many
things that go on.
A couple of little ones which we'll cover as we get to them, I suppose. But
yeah.
So we start with recycling day or recycling
Night.
eve, bin day eve. Very exciting day for many people during the week, especially when there's 2 bins out.
Which ones?
Yeah. So we see Damon putting out, I think it's the general recycling bin and the composting,
Yeah, the food waste one.
the food waste bin.
He puts it out. He's got a lot of bottles.
Yeah, you hear a lot of bottles setting a scene. Yeah.
And then that one just cuts. And I guess this is the nice thing about this, the way this is done with these short bursts of camera turns on, motion stops, camera turns off.
Yeah.
And you just get a grab, a little moment of what's happening. And then the foxes appear.
Yeah. That's a good shot. I wonder how they did that. To collect a couple of foxes or...
I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or just let nature take its course on a urban housing estate.
Yeah. It's probably just guaranteed to happen. Yeah, if you don't put a brick on your bin.
If you don't put a brick on your bin.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they do that. They go to work. They knock some stuff over. And they leave the mess that Valerie comes out to in the morning. She's not happy.
No, she's not.
I might put poison down, that'd soon stop him.
Best to use a brick.
A brick?
Well, that's what I do.
I don't think the animal cruelty people would be too happy with that.
No, I mean, to put on top of the bin so they can't knock it over.
And so she's greeted by Larry, friendly neighborhood dog walker, who's walking along with Popcorn. He seems simple and happy.
Yes.
He loves his dog.
Just Larry and Popcorn is a great name for a dog.
Is it?
It has there's something about it that's just like completely inappropriate. It just doesn't. It's like, who decided?
It's not a dog's name, is it?
Who decided it was going to be Popcorn?
Popcorn. Come on, Popcorn.
That really made me laugh. Yeah.
And we get.
And she leaves the boxes by the recycling bin.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Turns out that's fine. It's not. And we get our first glimpse of Chekhov's brick.
We do.
I do like that exchange. It's best to use a brick. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
I don't think the animal cruelty people, referring to people who despise animal cruelty as the animal cruelty people is a bit odd.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah.
The animal cruelty people wouldn't be very happy about that. No, they would. They'd love it, the animal cruelty people.
Yeah, that's their kind of thing.
Their thing.
Yeah, they've written a guidebook to help you be more cruel. Yeah, and then we have a mention of the poison, because she says might put poison down.
It takes that on board, doesn't he?
Yeah, it kind of feeds into his psyche somehow, into his memory.
Yeah, he seems quite taken with her. Quite likes Valerie, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And so she sort of angrily finishes up clearing up the driveway. There's stuff still everywhere. I'd have probably popped inside and washed my hands, if I'm honest.
She didn't, did she?
No, she didn't. Just sort of wiped a bit and then got in the car.
Hmm. Maybe she's got a sink in the car.
That's the obvious answer to that.
I would think so.
And then we cut there as she drives off to work, and then we cut back in as our friendly neighbours head on over.
Settled in. Well, we'll
Bob over for
we'll
some
have to have you
supper.
round for some supper. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
And just a little tip.
Yeah.
I noticed you'd got some boxes out for recycling, but you have to break it down and put it in the bin with the lid fully closed. Otherwise, they won't take it.
Oh, okay. Well, they did actually take it, so.
Yeah. Well, just for future reference.
Right.
Bring the Tupperware back whenever. No need to wash
Oh,
it.
thanks, Sheila. Very kind. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye.
Take care.
Well, were those pyjama bottoms?
I've got no idea.
I love shots like that when you just see them emerging out of their
Here
house
they
and
come.
coming across the road. Yeah.
Those things have some real range on them, don't they? Terrifying.
Too much. I don't
Too
know
much.
if
You don't
they're
need that.
supposed to have that kind of level of range, and whether you should be displaying a sign to say that you are recording people. I'm not sure, but
Maybe.
it feels like that ought to be the case. But yeah, they bring a cauliflower quiche. Kenny and Sheila.
Ken and Sheila. What's his name? Damon. Damien? No, Damon. Or like the jam. That's Damson. What is this conversation?
How did that conversation emerge? Yeah.
And there's just this awful nosiness about he's still living out of boxes. Oh yeah, we had noticed the takeaways. A lot of takeaway boxes.
It's like, you know far too much.
This is awful.
I said to Ken, she's probably not got her kitchen up together yet.
Or they just like to eat takeout.
What? Who's getting a kitchen up to? Why? What? What are you talking about? And then
Awful.
like it's such passive aggression, and the quiche is probably healthier than all those curries and whatnot.
Yes,
it's like so much judgment, but through this smile, this mask of like, oh no, I'm lovely. I'm your lovely neighbour.
It's weird that we've just sort of sat here and talked about the range on the doorbell and that being an invasion of privacy, but these people do not need a doorbell. They're just constantly watching anyway. They don't need a Ring doorbell. They're just watching everything you do.
They are a Ring doorbell, yeah.
They are, yeah, the human Ring doorbells.
Yeah, no, and exactly. There's a great moment also with Sheila's judgmental energy. There's a car that drives past. I don't know if you noticed it. In the background, and Sheila she turns her head and looks at it and then makes all these faces of like, what's that doing? And because it's a close, it must be one of the neighbours, or it's a stranger
car that she doesn't recognise.
Yeah, depending on which direction the end
dare
of
they?
the close is. But yeah, I thought it was a great little detail because it's just her
scanning
face
all
is
the
just
time.
always scanning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Then Kenneth obviously then defaults to car chat.
It's got to be car chat.
But how are you finding the Peugeot?
It's great.
And then one of my favourite bits comes in this car conversation when Damon talks about getting an electric car. And Ken talks about being tricky customers if they break down, so I've heard. And then Sheila says they run off an iPad. And you just see Ken do like this eye-rolling tutting face. As if to say, oh, gosh, she hasn't got a clue, has she?
Yeah.
Superb.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder whether that's a seeding of the fact that they're completely clueless to the nature of the doorbell cam.
Yeah, maybe.
So they don't really understand technology at all, so they wouldn't realise that there's a camera in that doorbell.
No, because they act as though they have no idea with the way they're running around, especially later in the episode. I guess also, that's a pretty surefire bet with him knowing that he has a camera recording, that he isn't loading his wife's remains into the back of his car as well.
That's
because he knows that's there. And you'd have to be pretty wrapped up in the situation to just go, oh, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Take this out, pop that in the
that's
car,
very
drive
true.
off.
Yeah.
So he must, the fact he's so comfortable doing that,
maybe that was part of why we didn't think she was dead.
Maybe because it'd be a ridiculous thing for him to do.
Yeah. Even if you're not consciously thinking, oh, that would be a ridiculous thing for him to do. It's just, you just know it. If he's at some level, like it's as you watch it, because I didn't
the doorbell.
I didn't think that she was dead. It just had, I don't know, it's just like really clever writing and the way they captured it, because I don't think you're necessarily supposed to think that she's dead.
No,
as a viewer.
Well, I think
you're supposed to think that they think she's dead.
Yeah,
because a lot of it is you're watching them watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And that's a different experience to you watching have things revealed to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different kind of thing. It's difficult to articulate, but yeah. And there's a great so they talk about the fact that Sheila's learning to drive quite late in life.
It's quite a passive-aggressive little exchange between them.
Yeah, the way that she says, like, because he's not letting her get into his Volvo estate.
You do see why in a couple of scenes time.
Yes, you do.
She's kangaroo hopping down the street.
Yeah. And she's, but she says, like, how am I supposed to practice then? And she's got this laughter that is concealing a rage. Like there's,
Yes.
and it's a beautifully, captured that fine line between. Yeah, it's not genuine laughter. I suppose we saw a bit of that last week in the trolley problem. And it's like on the cusp of she's going to flip here.
Yeah.
She hates this guy.
And then she's made sure that she reminds about the boxes being out for recycling.
Yeah, a little tip. A tip usually has a payoff, doesn't it? A little tip for you.
No, isn't it completely unnecessary once they took them anyway? I mean, it is one of my pet hates, this idea that if your bin is too full, they won't take it. Where's it go then? Where does it go? Because it's just going to roll over into next week and the problem's going to grow, isn't it?
Just gets worse and worse.
Let's
nip it in the bud now. Come on, off we go. And they did. To be fair to them, they took the lot. Yeah, no, exactly. I love Damon's response. Okay, well, they did actually take it. So
he's got a strange accent.
I can't figure out the accent.
It.
Yeah,
until he gets cross and it kind of disappears a bit.
It reminds me a little bit of Nana's Party. What's the name of the character he plays? It's got a similar sort of twang to it.
Yes. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know if it's kind of slightly northwesty Mancunian
lilt to it,
because the hacienda's mentioned.
Oh, okay.
When they're arguing. So whether he would have spent a lot of time in
La Hacienda.
In the Hacienda, Manchester. Maybe. Don't know. And then bring the Tupperware back whenever. And there's no need to wash it. So
I would.
Scrape some DNA off it. Please don't wash it.
Please don't.
Yeah. To gather
What's she going to do? Clone him? Off some cauliflower quiche crumbs.
Yeah. Well, imagine cloning him with a bit of cauliflower quiche sort of involved in the DNA.
It'd be a Netflix documentary. The Mulberry Close cloners.
Dark Place.
Yeah.
You know, the dark place with the broccoli.
Yeah. I always forget how much I love Dark Place.
Yeah. They walk back across the road.
Yes.
And she makes a comment about, were those pajama bottoms? I don't know.
Yes. They might be. He's in his own home.
Yeah.
He can wear what he likes.
Oh, absolutely. And then the next one is where
the bunny hopping down there.
The bunny hopping and driving. Learner-wise Driver Academy.
So yeah, it then cuts to dark. And this is an interesting one because it's clearly set off by this spider on the camera. So they want to tell us something here, but they need to figure out how we're going to have the camera kick in if there's nothing going on outside and it's all inside number 9. And to do that, we need to have something moving on the camera to set it off, which is a big old spider.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was some meaning behind the spider. Do you have any thoughts on the spider? Or was it just a useful device?
I think it's probably, I don't know, my initial thought is it's a useful device, as you say, to trigger the camera so that you can get the audio, because then you hear them arguing. And there's also whether they've got a spider problem around the close, because that's what Ken uses later on as a big spider behind you.
Yeah.
It's like there probably is.
Don't look.
Yeah, don't turn around. Don't turn around. I'm just going to watch while the spider disappears. Oh, now you can turn around. Where's the spider gone?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
I would turn at that point.
I'd definitely turn. Yeah, that would make me turn. If he said there's no spider behind you, I probably wouldn't turn.
No. Were you able to pick up any of the audio with the argument?
I watched it with subtitles on. So
did you?
There was
Good idea.
Yeah, there were a few lines that were subtitled, such as "Turn the music down." It's like Val was saying, getting Damon to turn his music down because it's too loud. You can't hear the TV. And then this is where you get the you're not at the hacienda now, you know.
Right. Okay.
So I think you're getting a sense of the fact that he's a bit of a maybe living in stuck in a party past where he's
Stone Roses.
Yeah,
he's still there,
bezzing his way around Mulberry Close. His maracas.
With his maracas, eh?
Yeah, I don't think I didn't pick up at the sound of any maracas, but
I did find myself wondering at certain times whether he was a bit of a victim in all this, whether she's quite unpleasant to him. There was a couple of times when they were arguing that I wondered whether, she was the aggressor in a lot of this stuff. I don't know. It was just a bit of a vibe I picked up a couple of times, and I wondered if that's where things were going.
Oh, right. Yeah, I hadn't thought that. Yeah. I think he's a bit stuck somewhere, kind of psychologically, or like there's a, I don't know, a stodginess to him that you're just like, oh, come on, mate.
That's the thing. I took that a little bit as him being a bit sort of browbeaten.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And pushed down. That's maybe why he's drinking, all those kind of things. I don't think that is the case.
No.
Not with the way it plays out. But you're right.
No, I don't think so. No.
They go from this blazing row to the following scene. They're up outside the house setting up their Halloween decorations. Yeah,
and I think this shows a real togetherness in their relationship.
They really enjoy Halloween together.
Yeah, because it's not like she's doing it because he really wants to do it. So it's like, okay, let's put the decorations. It's actually something they're doing together.
I like that Reese got to get his love of Halloween in.
Yeah, it's great. And then they've obviously had a conversation about Sheila. It's like she's going to come over.
Oh God,
as we're doing this. I told you, here she comes.
She'll hate this. She will hate this so much.
Oh, you are busy little bees, aren't you?
She's worried about the mischief makers from the estate being attracted.
Yeah. Who are the true undesirables and mischief makers?
Absolutely. I mean, I hate Halloween. I really, really do not like people appearing at my house.
I know where you should move to.
Mulberry Close. But I don't go and actively try and stop other people from engaging. They're quite good around here. If you haven't got anything at your front door, they generally leave you alone.
Well, I think that's the rule, isn't it? So,
unless you're using it as an excuse to partake in criminal damage.
Yeah.
It's always wrong, Halloween or otherwise.
Hiya, Sheila.
Hello, my goodness. You're a pair of busy bees, aren't you?
Yeah, we love Halloween. We always make a big thing of it.
Well, so I can see. You won't be doing any more than this, though, will you?
She's straight over, like a shot. She wants none of this going on in her close. But they do like fun.
Yeah.
They went to Crazy Golf.
Crazy Golf.
With a K.
Oh, yeah, Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart, yeah. He's really... I think Damon's really proud of Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah. He'll scare the undesirables off.
He will. Yeah, because they talk about him going down to the pub and he decides to pull out a cracking joke.
Yeah.
Which I say cracking, probably out of a cracker at some point. He's got nobody to go with.
Hey.
And they don't...
to which Val laughs.
She does.
Actually. So again, there's like it's not a rolling your eyes like, oh, it's a... No, they do like each other, I think.
They have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. But Kenny and Sheila won't be going because Michael Balls, who do you think you are? Finally on. They've been stalking him ever since meeting him on a cruise.
And he does become wrapped up in their lives in a way they least suspect.
Exactly. Yeah. And then this next scene is kind of a game changer, or what you think is the game changer.
You do. I wonder what the hell was going on here. The thing is, when I saw like the thumbnail for this, there were kind of a whole bunch of faces peering into a camera, And I didn't know if this was going to be like some sort of home invasion, purge kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when this happened, I thought, yep, that's where this is. Because that was chilling.
Yeah. It's all like the pausing and then the turning. And it's amazing
camera.
How you can just create a really chilling scene with not a lot. Like,
but yeah, none of it was.
There's no music. There's no sound.
No. And the thing is that none of it was kind of overplayed as this would be a dramatic thing to do. It was the mask, the dead mask eyes did it for you, because obviously it's a dead mask. There's no eyes there. Yeah. So he's just acting like you normally would when you're stumbling around, making sure you're at the right house, going up to the doorbell. All of those things are perfectly normal. And he doesn't play them in a particular way, yet it's horrendous.
Do you think he's forgotten that he's wearing the mask?
Possibly. Because hopefully Val knew that he was wearing that mask, because if she was to look at the doorbell when he started stumbling around at the door and go, oh my God.
Yeah. And I think he comes across a bit pathetic here.
And I think this is what kind of pushed me into that idea that he might be a bit of a victim. Because she says something like, you're a fucking joke, you know that?
Yeah.
And he just says,
and he says, I know, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered.
You let me in.
Where's your key?
I don't know. My other jacket.
You're a fucking joke, Damon. Do you know that?
Yeah. Sorry.
And so I guess the next bit that kicks in when the milk floats outside was later on that evening.
Yeah.
I'm guessing when he's
the
still
milkman
drunk.
was there early.
Yeah.
Or late.
Well, they're usually around very early hours of the morning, aren't they?
I don't know.
Because you don't want your milk being out there for too long. Foxes will get it.
True.
Or cats. I think they're around sort of 4 or 5 in the morning doing their rounds.
Do you reckon this was that late?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Some time has passed and he's kind of come out of his pathetic mode and is now apparently being really aggressive when he's drunk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shouting.
Did you pick up on the lines of this?
No.
So the subtitles here were about, I think it was, she has a go at him for spilling it down the stairs. And he says, I haven't spilt it. If you'd have stayed with me in the pub, why didn't you stay? Because you get too drunk and then you get aggressive. And then he goes into like aggressive. What are you talking about? And then she's like, look at you now. What are you talking about? Get back out of my way. Piss off. And then it just sort of becomes inaudible. And then there's those thudding sounds. And then
the silence.
That eerie silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Larry obviously heard it.
Yeah, because he's there first thing in the morning, isn't he?
Yeah. Him and Popcorn.
It was only later on in the episode that I started paying attention to whether or not there was a car on the drive. Because it was just kind of popping in and out.
The indicator whether someone was in.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's no car there. So Larry rings the doorbell. And I do like these shots when you said they're kind of clueless about the doorbell thing and their faces are up in it. And so Ken's there and he greets him. Oh, when the argument was going on across in the last scene.
Oh, yeah.
Did something go on across the road? Because did a light go on? Or is that later on?
No, I think the light goes on when he's
when he's loading the car.
Yeah.
Did anything happen? Because I was kind of half looking out for something going on, but I didn't see anything. Did you spot anything?
I didn't spot. No, I meant to look, but forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I meant to really keep an eye out to see if there were just things constantly going on, like the curtain twitching and lights popping on and different places.
But no, I think there was the next one. There wasn't anything in that one. So yeah, Ken appears and they're sort of on the driveway talking about Damon. and Valerie's moves and what they're doing, because Larry's heard them doing DIY, and there's been banging and things, and I guess a chainsaw out in the back garden from what we hear later on.
That's what the DIY would be. Yeah.
I don't hear the phrase DIY and think chainsaws. I think that's a next level. It's up a notch, isn't it? Chainsaws. And also do it yourself.
Middle of the night,
implies some sort of improvement, and chainsaws are just all about destruction.
Yeah.
So the advice from Ken is to speak to the wife. He's always half cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I think they talk about Sheila's having failed her driving test.
Yeah.
Well,
she failed it twice, so she won't be taking it again for ages. How did she get to the stage where she was allowed to take it twice when she was driving like that?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Who's saying, yeah, you're ready?
It's like...
Unless that wasn't even her. Maybe that wasn't her in that car. Maybe it was just some other learner driver on the estate. Because there's no way that that instructor should be saying, yeah, you're ready.
Yeah, you're ready.
You're ready, love. You'll be fine.
That's a good point.
Have you heard any funny noises coming from in there?
How do you mean?
They've been banging about, doing DIY and God knows what at all hours.
Oh, no, that's not on. Have you said something?
We'll just try, but there's no one in.
Right. I'll speak to the wife if I were you. She seems like the reasonable one. He's always half cut.
I will.
All right, good luck. See you later, pal.
I'll see you, Kenny.
Yeah, and this is then we cut to the night, and Damon is dragging those 2 suitcases to his boot.
And then the light goes on across the road, and there's like some frantic movements up in the window. Unless you had specific reason to think that someone had just been murdered and he was trying to get rid of someone's body. Like Occam's razor, when you see someone putting suitcase into a car, is not suggesting that there's been a murder.
No,
It's that he's
in the middle of the
going
night,
away.
I'd be thinking, oh, you've got an early flight.
He's got an early flight tomorrow, yes. Not, oh my God, he's chopped up his wife and he's put her in the boot.
Yeah. Which speaks to actually a line later. I'll just jump to it because when I think it's when they're doing the snooping around and Ken says, in my mind, he's chopped her up in the bath.
Yes.
And put her in them suitcases. And I think that just those 3 words, in my mind, is that's really clever writing, because it's like, this is all in all of their minds.
Yes,
like,
completely.
And there's something that they're really enjoying about that as well. But yeah, I think that speaks to that rather. Yeah. Occam's razor. Okay.
But it is interesting that neither of us thought, yeah, she's in there.
No. I just feel like there's nothing about Damon that really spoke red flags in that direction to me.
I don't think so. Like I say, I saw him as the potential victim in all this, not an abuser.
Yeah. And so then it's the next day.
Something's been left on the drive.
Yeah, Ken.
What is it?
Well, it's
footprints of some sort.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Of what? Because if it was blood, I get it. But then, yeah, I don't know what he's seen.
Footprints on the ground because it hasn't snowed. I mean, the thing you could mistake as blood would be red wine because there was a red wine spillage, but I'm pretty sure.
How much was on there? Did he just sort of leave it soaked into it? Maybe it was
like a spongy bit of the futon that.
Yeah, maybe. That kind of dripped out when he crammed it all in the suitcase. Why did he put it in the suitcase?
That's the other question. Why? Yeah, I would never. You just take it as it is.
Chop it into 2 bits if it needs to be in the back of your car.
Yeah,
because maybe the Peugeot doesn't fit.
It's a good
How
run
are you
around.
finding the Peugeot for transporting ruined furniture?
Yeah,
not great. So yeah, that was it. That was it for that scene, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then Sheila's back. She wants her Tupperware.
I love his response to, what do you want now?
Yeah. I think that would be my response to her by this point.
I love that so much.
And then
for goodness sake, what do you want now?
Oh, I'm sorry, did I wake you?
No, it's not a bit of a late night. What do you want now?
I just wondered if you'd finished with my Tupperware.
What Tupperware?
And he's not fussed about upsetting her, is it? When she's trying to worm her way into the house. I'm in the middle of something at the moment, so it's not convenient. Not even making anything up, just not convenient.
Yeah. He's a man who knows his boundaries and is very good at establishing and reinforcing his boundaries.
It's only right.
Yeah. And do you think she looks shaken or angry?
She seems a bit... I don't think she's used to people responding to her like that.
No.
And so she does look a bit shaken up by that.
Yeah.
'Cause it is quite... There is a bit of aggressive edge to it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm holding this together right now, but I do want to go off on you. Like, I want to shout in your face to get away from my house. I'm just going to say very clearly, it's not convenient. So no.
I mean, he's having a tough time. His wife has left for the week without, and left all sorts up in the air. And is that entitlement to just, what was it, rootle around in his kitchen to find.
Yeah, like, I can come and look for it. No, I mean, he knows the quiche is still there.
Yeah,
it's in the freezer. He phones later. I mean, that was the one moment that I did wonder if I got it wrong. Was when he made that phone call.
Yeah,
because I wondered if it was a track covering job.
Yeah.
Why would I leave that message if I'd killed her, Your Honour? What a ridiculous thing to do. So that was the one moment I did wonder if I got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So we then head into farce. Farce time. This whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, sort of midnight neighbourhood watch.
Yeah. Damien goes out. Damon, not Damien.
Damon.
He heads out. Ken, Sheila, and Larry are all straight out to get into the house with the spare key that Larry's got. This is horrendous.
Yeah.
But I guess if you have convinced yourself that there's a dead woman in that house, and that no matter what your reasons for arriving at that conclusion, maybe it's understandable.
Yeah, you can reason your way to there.
Yeah.
That's the neighbourhood watch. Looking out for one another.
Larry with his fingerless gloves.
That's fantastic.
This reminds me of the stories of Ozzy Osbourne back in the day when apparently he was caught as a burglar because he was robbing houses with fingerless gloves on.
I love that. It is like it's almost a kind of the cliche of what a burglar should look like.
It is.
Like
it's a terrible thing.
It's the guy in Home Alone has fingerless gloves. It's like
one bit of your hand.
That's the bit you need to cover. Yeah.
I guess you could use sausages and a burger for your palm.
Of course you could. Yeah. And he doesn't really know what they're looking for as well.
No.
What are we looking for exactly?
Yeah. They just look through the windows. Anything out of the ordinary.
Signs of struggle.
The key doesn't work. Thank goodness. But yeah, you're right. This is when Ken speculates that she's been chopped up and put into the suitcases.
Yeah. It's happened in his mind.
Yeah. There's a window open though, so they can probably make their way up there. So Ken, go fetch the ladders.
I love that.
He's brazen carrying ladders around. Like, are they literally the only neighbourhood watch? Because you'd hope that any other members of neighbourhood watch would see other people climbing into someone's house in the middle of the night with ladders. Is no one else like doing their shift?
A test thing for your fellow neighbourhood watchers.
Mate,
we just broke into this house and
this is what they could have said. That's what they should have said. Not as
it's a drill. It's a neighbourhood watch drill, and
you've all failed. Yeah. I know, Sheila. We were in bed asleep. Because at this point, they're not really part of community neighbourhood watch. They're like volunteer security, private security for the close.
Yeah,
vigilantes. Neighbourhood watch is not vigilanteism.
Yeah, and they're not even because I think it's that really significant thing of Sheila having everything logged, all the comings and goings, and she's like, if there has been a murder, I'll need to turn it over to Netflix. So she's not even thinking about the police. So this is not about being... This
isn't about community safety. It's about voyeurism and potential scandal is what this is.
The enjoyment of things that you pretend you don't like happening on your close, but actually you really, really love.
Oh, you love it.
Drama.
You thrive on it.
Yeah.
And this is where she then talks about the Netflix documentary, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Mulberry Close murders. There's been more than one? I don't know.
And in the end, there was.
There
were two, yeah. Well, was Popcorn a murder? It wasn't really a murder.
It was more vehicular manslaughter. Death by
vehicular dog slaughter.
Careless driving. Yes. Vehicular dog slaughter.
Yeah.
Can I be me in it? He's foreshadowing the murder.
More than you know, Larry. More than you know.
You will be you. She then finds the backdoor key works.
Yeah. Which hadn't occurred to Larry.
Larry's then distracted by Popcorn and sort of wanders off.
Yeah.
He had one job.
He does just wander like a little child, just like, oh, popcorn. Oh, popcorn. Yeah.
And then Damon pulls them onto the drive. And I feel like they're quite brazen about getting attention. He apparently can't hear any of this.
Yeah.
If I was in my house and people were shouting up at the top windows, I say shouting, shout whispering, Harry, Sheila.
And at that time of night, it is very loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she wants the bin brought over so she can drop down out of the top window. And his first thought is to bring over the compost. No, not that one.
Tiny bin.
Larry?
Hello, Damon.
What are you doing, Larry?
Well, you'll know this. Is it the recycling this week or next? I can never remember.
Next Monday.
Of course, yes. I'll put this back for you. Then just trying to be neighbourly.
And then him wheeling the bin.
And then Damon comes out. Larry, what are you doing?
That response, like, he's not even angry. He's just like, Larry, what are you doing?
And then the dreadful cover story. Just trying to be. He wasn't sure what bins it was, and he was trying to be neighbourly.
How's this?
If you don't know, just put them all out for you, just in case.
It's next Monday.
Then Ken appears with his ladders. You know what you guys doing? I've just done mine. It's nearly midnight.
I love him wandering along with across the road with the ladder horizontal. And it's the fact that Damon is obviously like, what are you guys doing? But then he just leaves with them all still on his drive, and it's as if he doesn't really care. And I think that's almost his relationship with his camera as well. Is just record, like, I'm not bothered about any of this stuff. I don't need to.
I'll watch this back later on.
Yeah, and I don't care about knowing your business and being all interested in that stuff, to the point where I'll just drive off and leave you. It's still on my drive. It's
weird that he doesn't. If that's the case, he doesn't go back and watch it and think, I'm pressing charges here. This is awful. No, they're in my house. Maybe he doesn't know it's there. Maybe he isn't conscious of it at all. Maybe he's moved into a house that has this thing set up, but actually isn't really engaged with it at all. Maybe it was the previous people who lived there who were like, and why did they move out? Because they had horrific neighbours who they then needed to install a camera to spy on. Yeah. But Ken thinks they got away with that. Yeah, I think we got away with that.
Yes. Yeah, and then we see the phone call that you were.
Yeah, I did wonder, was he covering himself? 'Cause it was very deliberate with the information. Are you coming? I'm sorry about what happened the other night. Are you coming home soon? We can have the quiche that's in the fridge. It was very specific and very like.
But then he used the term, like the phrase, "It's all cleaned up now," which
that would be a stupid thing to, I guess.
Yeah,
what were you referring to? Well, clearly not my wife's body.
Yeah,
because I was talking to her on the phone.
That's true. Yeah.
Or it would say, "That's all cleaned up now because people heard stuff going on. People saw me loading stuff into a car. I need to have a story for that." And she went away after that happened, and then she was murdered there and dropped into a river in suitcases. Nothing to do with me. Maybe, I don't know. I've never murdered anyone and cut their body up in suitcases and had to try and cover it. So,
and nor has Damon.
That makes two of us. Something I've got in common with him.
Yeah, it is. Do you ever clean the boot of your car?
I did today, but only took the main lining bit out and sort of hit it, so some stuff came out of it. Didn't hoover.
So not the sort of forensic hoovering,
getting rid of all that futon fluff
and footprints.
So yes, he then arrives home in the day and heads straight to Ken.
I beg your pardon.
I've got divots in me back garden from your heels, Sheila. It should be me calling the police on you.
What's with this shouting? Is everything all right?
He's gone round the twist. He's accusing us of all sorts here. Says we've been spying on him.
Well, I haven't. No, don't bother, Larry. I know you're their third wheel. They don't know what I work, you do.
And where's Valerie in all this? We'd like to hear her side of the story.
She's up my arse, second shelf on the right.
Oh, that's disgusting. There's no need for crude language. I knew you'd be trouble the second you moved in. Those gnomes showing their bottoms, that was enough.
Fuck off!
Hey, come on, we're not savages.
He's been visited by a community police officer. His boots over Ken's.
It's a great rage. Reese must have been in his element in this episode.
The venom with it, which he delivers the "fuck off" line is so good. You're always kids have been always looking for excuses to visit his house. I know you've been in there. There's been divots in the back garden from your heels, Sheila.
I love that. The way he delivers that line as well is fantastic.
Sheila. And then he goes in on Larry. I know you're their third wheel. Unlike them, you know where I work. So he's accusing Larry of making that call.
Yeah, and that exchange suggests that. I know you said like Larry had a fondness for Val, and I think there's a better bond between both Val and Damon and Larry. Because it's almost like he's disappointed that Larry is their third wheel.
Yes.
And he's obviously opened up about where he works to Larry.
Well, yes.
And probably told him more stuff.
He wasn't cross about Larry being on his driveway with the bin, was he? He was confused more than anything.
Yeah.
He didn't come out and tell them to fuck off and get away from his house like he would have done if it was Sheila or Ken out there. Whereas Larry was a genuine, what are you doing?
What are you up to, Larry?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. And then where's Valerie then? She's up my arse, second shelf on the right.
Yeah, that when Sheila asks like, "Where's Valerie in all this?" We'd like to hear her side of the story. It's like, what's that?
What story?
Like, yeah.
What right do you
about
have to be demanding what's going on in this household?
Yeah.
And then he's now very much turned on Larry, and he's saying you're going to regret it. You keep on with this.
Yeah, Popcorn looks a bit sheepish behind him, and I think there's a sense of like doggish. I was fearing for Popcorn. I didn't feel like Damon was gonna do anything. I didn't think there was great threat to Popcorn from that respect, but
no,
I did feel a foreboding doom on.
Well, I did think that when the 19th scene kicked in and Larry was out looking for Popcorn, I did wonder.
Yes.
But that would have been out of character for Damon, really. He seems to get angry, but he doesn't seem to get physically cross, I guess, apart from throwing a futon down the stairs. But that's an inanimate object.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'd do that to a dog.
But before that happens, we're at night time. The bins are out again. And then it flicks on, and I think it must have been Sheila at the door of the house. Now, I know narratively why it cuts out. And we get the reveal at the very end of what happened in the intervening bits between that scene and the morning. But why did it cut out? What's the reason that would cut out, other than to build a bit of suspense for the rest of the episode?
Question. Yeah.
Because there's no reason why that would cut out, because the motion is still happening.
So that's that scene, is it? When she... That would be yeah.
Unless it's designed to only pick up unnatural motion, because otherwise I guess it would flick on every time a car went past, and it doesn't. So
but then it does pick up that we just haven't.
I guess we haven't seen it. Yeah, you're right. So there is it's a reason for storytelling purposes. I get that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
It is filmed. We're just not shown it yet, which makes you wonder what else we're not shown.
Which would indicate further, perhaps, that this thing that we are watching is the edited Netflix documentary, because they've created that narrative themselves.
Is it? This is all the same night, isn't it? That this thing sort of carries on with. So Larry's then out looking for popcorn. We've got some questions about where popcorn might be. Then it cuts, and then because
it goes to day for that. So there's some weird, because I noticed there's some weird editing that happens here.
So the bins are out. The bins are out.
You see this person appear at the door of number 8. Then it cuts to daytime, Larry walking around looking for popcorn. And then it goes to nighttime, the bins are still out.
And then Val
comes home.
And then she's dealing with the bins.
Yeah.
So there's something weird going on there time-wise.
Again, I think that would indicate, okay, there's the timeline is being threaded there.
So she's been at her sister's in Halifax while Larry's snooping around. And she explains the whole thing about that happened with the futon. So we're kind of then let in on what went on there and filled in those blanks.
Yeah, I love that description. The dickhead ended up chopping it up with a chainsaw.
Yeah. And Larry probably going, okay.
Oh, we thought nothing.
And then they talk about popcorn having escaped. Larry then looks in the bin, and popcorn's dead in the bin.
Yeah. And this comes after getting a bit worried about popcorn. And he asks, I think he says, like, no more problems with foxes then. And then she says, oh no, fingers crossed. And then the bin opens. And I was wondering, is that, oh no, fingers crossed related to, or could be interpreted as you've put the poison down. Fingers crossed that problem's now sorted.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
And he jumps to the conclusion
yes, because I did wonder, when did he think she'd done this? When did she think she'd gone after popcorn and poisoned popcorn? So he's accusing her more of being negligent rather than being...
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
That was... because I think the way that he... Initially, there was certain issues around how, like, he's just... doesn't make any sense of his reaction here. It's gone... rather rapidly down a line.
However, she would still have had to have decided to dispose of the dog in the bin, because it wouldn't have eaten the poison, then climbed into the recycling bin.
No.
So he's still accusing her of some level of malice. Well, there's pretty crap hiding.
Because she says, what's happened? What's he doing in there? And again, that could be interpreted as, I hid him somewhere else and he's been put in there. Like,
yeah.
if you want, again, it's like that theme of, I will piece things together to see what the thing that I want to see, the thing that I've decided is the truth. I'm going to make everything fit that narrative.
And the compost bin probably would have been a better shout. It would have got a burial that way.
That's true, but they're quite small, those bins. You might have had to get the old chains.
Rigor mortis might have set in as well at this point.
How do you feel about the harming of an animal in an episode?
It's true. Not allowed to do that, are they?
I didn't think it.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Oh man, yeah, kind of reminiscent of A Quiet Night In. The dog in the umbrella.
That's true. Yeah, callback.
Yeah,
yeah.
But this is quite. I don't know. It's especially when you actually see him. It's kind of like, okay, they're going there. Dog lovers are not going to enjoy this.
You had no more problems with foxes then?
Oh, no, fingers crossed. Open this up for me, would you please? Oh, my God.
Popcorn?
What's happened? What's he doing in there?
It was you. You poisoned him.
What? No, I'd never do that.
You said you would. Poisoned him and dumped him in a dustbin.
Of course I didn't. Let me go and call Damon.
She goes in to make the phone call to Damon.
If Damon knows what's going on with the dog.
And there's that pause that Larry, you just sort of see his mind ticking over, and
he just kind of zones in, doesn't he?
Yeah, looks at the brick, picks it up. And it on the subtitles you hear, and I think you can hear it on the actual audio, but it's a bit muffled. Val asking Larry to wait outside.
Yeah,
as he comes in. So it's almost like that, similar to Damon's boundaries, holding those boundaries. Like, no, it's not okay.
Don't come in. No. Yeah,
and then obviously he doesn't respect those boundaries and kills her with a brick.
Quite thuddy.
Well,
a lot of thuds.
Yeah, maybe that's something to do with the frequencies the microphone picks up on the
maybe
door cam.
And then he kind of lovingly fishes popcorn out of the bin. Carries
him home as if nothing's happened.
And then we get a point of view shift to a dash cam.
We do, on the 10th of November 2023.
And someone's filming as Damon's put into a police car. He's not very happy about this, is he? Understandably.
And this is all happening at the same time because they've got the private ambulance there. So Val's body is being taken away at the same time as Damon is being loaded into.
Yeah, I wonder what happened here. Did someone call it in? Did Larry go home and phone and say, I think there's been a...
I mean, Damon must have... He's obviously been at home because he brought out... And he doesn't know what's happened.
No. So, yeah, maybe he's just arrived home in the morning or something and this is all happening. Unless he's gone into the house, the police are there because Larry's phoned and said...
Yeah, maybe.
Something's gone on. I heard thumping. He drove off and left. He'll be coming home soon. He's arrived home only to be cuffed.
And loaded into a Peugeot police car.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Well noted.
Just check those details. His line was he's getting in, like, you'll never get your Tupperware back now, will you, Sheila? You dozy. Yeah. It's like, is that... I'm not sure that would be the thing that I'd be shouting at that point.
No. What's my crime? Enjoying a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? No, murdering your wife with a brick. Ken and Sheila are being interviewed by the police, who I hope are giving them incredibly short shrift, if these are the things they're saying. Although, is this just over the top for the documentary? I don't know. But yeah.
It's all the footage. It's the genuine footage.
Accusing them of being Satanists.
Yeah, there's skeletons in their garden.
Yeah, to be fair, that just was for Halloween, Sheila. But there's no smoke without fire.
What?
You're making quite a jump.
And I love that Larry saying you saw him dragging a body out and putting it into the boot of his car.
Granted, it was a week before he actually killed her. It was a trial run.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
I think
that sense of they fully believed it, and there's still a bit of them that's fully signed up to this idea that no, he definitely did it. It doesn't matter that we've seen her since.
It's that whole...
He definitely did it.
It's that retroactively fitting out, like making everything fit the thing that you want to believe is true. And it's quite a good commentary, a social commentary on how that happens. And, you know, I guess you see it so much with things like the true crime documentaries on Netflix and, you know, people sleuthing and deciding. It's like conspiracy theories where you manage to kind of warp your mind so much that you start to see everything as fitting the narrative that you want it to fit into, even though it's like that you're just,
Well, obviously with all those, you've got the benefit of also being able to piece it back together and join the dots backwards and convince yourself that you were right all along and that everything you were thinking in reality, those probably weren't things you were thinking then, but you convinced yourself that you knew you were with it all along. You knew what you were
like the twist, like the Inside Number 9 twist.
Yes, exactly.
It's obvious. I knew that was going to.
I knew it was coming.
I'd like to sit and watch a new episode of Inside Number 9 with you, and 5 minutes in, ask you what you think is going to be the twist. Yeah.
No, you're going to be wrong. And she's asking the police, "Do you think they'll do a Netflix on it?"
Yeah. Even that, do a Netflix.
Yeah. And then
the police officer, just to go back to where they were kind of, because the police officer gives up writing. I think
she does.
like,
Okay, all right. Okay.
And there's a glance to the camera, which I managed to catch a screenshot of, because it was like, I'm pretty sure she looks directly at the camera. And there's something kind of the fourth wall break of found footage. Like, it's not quite the same thing, because obviously she's just looking down the camera of the body-worn cam of her colleague. But there's something perfect about the look, and I'm sure it's not intentional, but like a despairing, like, oh, these people.
Yeah.
Again, we're here again on Mulberry Close.
It's like,
maybe they are.
Maybe. Murders. And then someone asked the question that we were all wanting to ask: has anyone checked the doorbell footage yet? Because that will be the obvious thing for the police to do at any point as soon as they see that doorbell.
Yeah.
And I assume that once they do, this is all dealt with. And Larry's put away. The real Larry is somewhere.
Yeah.
In jail, I assume.
I would think so, yeah.
Unless Larry's knows more than he's let on about doorbells and he's tampered with it and cleared off chunks of that. But they've got it now anyway, so we've been shown it.
Yeah, and we've seen Sheila getting into the Volvo.
Yeah.
Reversing into popcorn.
So back to bin night. Car starts, reversed into the dog. She gets out, puts it in the bin, and then the voiceover comes in. And it was at this point that Sheila knew she'd fucked. No, didn't say that. That's what I thought was coming. So at this point, the detectives knew they'd blown the case wide open. I'm Michael Ball, and this is the Mulberry Close murders.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. And there we are at the end. That's the first music kicks in as the end credits roll.
Christian had an easy week, did he?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun.
I'm sure there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more little references that we've probably glossed over or missed. And it would be interesting to hear from people about things that they picked up on in this episode.
It's amazing how these suburban drama ones keep being some of my favourites.
Yeah, I think this will be up there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think this has got something about it.
Yeah, there wasn't really much sort of twisty-turny stuff in it. It just kind of played out, and then didn't turn out that someone was a murderer. Someone did a murder.
Yeah, I thought that. This doesn't really have a twist. It just has a series of events.
Yeah.
And you're just like, because there's no like, aha, that's what it was all about. And it's like, she knocks the dog over and then puts it in the bin. And then that leads to this misunderstanding or this interpretation that Larry has about, Val's motives. Or as you said, it's negligence rather than my dog has been killed.
Yeah.
So to me, there wasn't a twist. And even like, the Michael Ball bit at the end, it's just kind of like, yeah.
That was fun.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like, Yeah, so if anyone does have any thoughts, please do email us, aquietnightinsideno9@gmail.com, or share on Twitter at AQNIN9. And if you fancy dropping us a little donation to keep this whole thing running, so we can pay for the hosting costs of the podcast without, ruining it with advertising or anything like that, then there's a PayPal link in the show notes and you can do that and we'd be ever so grateful.
And hear your name at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Very grateful for everyone who's done that. Thank you very much. Cool. Let's leave it there.
Drop us an email or...
I said that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and Twitter.
Okay. All right.
I must
have just tuned out.
Just completely.
I've heard it so many times now.
I'm pretty sure I said it. Shall I say it again just in case I didn't say it?
Maybe.
Well, no, I did say it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You mentioned about sending us donations. I don't know if you...
No, I did the other...
Did you do the Twitter handle? Did you do the email address?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said if you have any thoughts on this episode, then drop us an email, aquietnightinsideno9@gmail.com, or on Twitter at AQNIN9.
There it is.
Listeners, back me up. Back me up.
You can cut that back in there. The worst case scenario, they've just heard it twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Right, I better share the email address, actually. Okay, let's go to bed.
It's quite forward.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And it was at this point that detectives knew they'd blown the case wide open. I'm Michael Ball, and this is the Mulberry Close Murders.